Good morning. Good morning. It's Tuesday. It's April 23rd. Am I looking at my phone to determine what day it is? Yes. I don't know. I don't know sometimes, but it's Tuesday. It's April 23rd. I can't believe it's the end of April. We have a lot to cover today. So, replay crew, love you. All the timestamps will be down below. We're going to be talking about Jellyroll, the band suing the artist real quickly. There's a kind of quirky plea deal with regard to SBF and the FTX stuff. I'll give a road so far. I haven't covered that case a ton, but I did cover it as to the influencers. So we're going to take care of that for sure. I am also going to be covering a little bit of what's going on with TikTok, and then we need to get into what the court recently ruled in Idaho in the murder case. I haven't seen any updates on the TikTok psychic, but if there are, we will get there. So I will take a look before the end of the end of the stream. So that's what we've got today. Some quick bits, keeping up with Idaho. Then on Thursday, it looks like we will probably not be in trial yet, so we can swoop and cover some other words are hard. Swoop and cover some of the other cases that are outstanding that aren't going to be on the podcast in the coming weeks, because I have the podcast kind of laid out for the next few weeks of the cases that need more of a deep dive that I'm going to be circling back into. So for those cases, it's stuff like the ongoing Miraval Winery case with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, the stuff going on with the Scientology case. Those types of things are going to be deeper dives. There's quite a lot of documents to read through. So those are going to be podcasts coming up. And then we're going to kind of cover the quicker stuff on streams until this trial starts. So let's roll the intro. Let me know what you're drinking, where you're coming in from, and then we'll do a quick update on Karen Reed, and then we'll go from there. So I've got Starbucks. It was triple star day today. So I've got a chocolate cream cold brew. It's a little bit of a sweet treat, and I love it. So that's what I'm doing today. And I see you guys already coming in. So we're going to talk all about the things. I see you guys saying it's the skull ice cream cones. I worked out this morning and had a little bit of a sauna situation. So I needed short sleeves in case I start sweating. So we're still going. Look, we fit it in where we can. So with all of that, you guys know what's coming in the stream today. And it's time to roll. Let's go.
Hey there, I'm Emily D. Baker, the internet's go-to legal analyst, breaking down the legal side of the pop culture and entertainment stories we can't stop talking about. I'm a big fan of the cursey words. I've been a licensed attorney for over 17 years, but this is not legal advice. This is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not... Let's get into it.
Am I still zhuzhing my stream screens? Yes, I am. Why? Because I started talking before I finished doing that. Because sometimes that's just the way it is. Oh, Emily, don't start singing. That's just the way. I can't help myself. That's just the way it is. Look, you guys know I love music. It is how my brain works most of the time. B, I think creating music is one of the most courageous things people can do. The songwriters and singer-songwriters who write their own lyrics and speak their experiences into music is, I would imagine, incredibly vulnerable. And going to live music is one of my favorite things in the whole entire world. You guys know that. I make no qualms about the fact that I will run away and go see live music at the drop of a hat. Especially if it's the Dave Matthews Band. I'm sorry. The 2024 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, the Dave Matthews Band. So I'm very excited. Very, 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 very excited that the Dave Matthews Band is finally getting some of the recognition that they deserve. I realize one of the things I kind of love about being a Dave fan is since, the mid 90s, is you kind of see the rise of like the Grammy Awards and the more mainstream recognition. And then you see it kind of go back to the fans. Albums get released, the fans love it. The shows are sold out. They tour every year, and you see the ongoing love and support. But the rest of the music industry is kind of like, we've moved along. Well, it's nice to know that they are finally getting inducted into the Hall of Fame and getting acknowledged the same year as so many other incredible artists, including, I think, is it Lifetime Achievement or a special? It's not an inductee because I believe he's already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but a nod to Jimmy Buffett as well. And that's a really cool thing. So somebody asked, am I going to go? No, I'm not. No, I'm not going to go. I don't know when it is. And then I would have to travel. Look, my schedule, once this trial starts, is going to be less than delightful. Less than delightful. So it's just, I'm happy for the acknowledgement for the band. I'm happy for the fans. I am looking forward to seeing their live performance. I will watch it streaming. So with all of that, you guys know how much I love live music. We're going to talk about a music case today that came up when I was recording the podcast behind the scenes yesterday. I've gotten a lot of DMs about it as well. So I will be talking about the Jellyroll case today. I think first we need to talk about the Karen Reed case just a little bit. I know I kind of ranted about it on it wasn't really a little bit of a rant. I ranted about it just a little bit on Thursday and about how contentious this case already is, about how the internet is going to play into this case. I don't think that's helpful for literally anyone. But with all of that, I'm looking at one last thing. With all of that, this case has not finished picking a jury yet. And they were super close at the end of last week. Like the initial phases of jury instructions were just like zoom, zoom. And then a screeching, freaking halt in the case, which is incredibly frustrating to watch from the outside. The lawyers, by the time they start this trial, are going to feel like they've been in trial for 3 weeks, which is really annoying for everyone. I can't imagine what it's like for especially the attorneys that don't live in the area to literally move to Massachusetts for like 3 or 4 months. It's wild. So the court has seemingly indicated that opening statements will likely not start till next week, like on Monday. So they were 1 juror away from 20, which is what the court wanted. I know that there are motions going on. I don't fault the defense for the motions that they've brought. The defense has brought a motion over particularly the courtroom. Like most courtrooms, the jury box is along one wall, and then you can see the judge, the witness, the attorneys, the defendant. But the second half of the jury box, like the back 9 of the jury box, I don't know if it's exactly 9. I was making a golf reference, but the back part of the jury box, the jurors see the back of the head of the witness. Why does this matter? Because it is the job of the jury to evaluate the testimony of the witness. And there is a jury instruction that says if you don't believe a witness, you can discount everything they say. Just yeet anything that they say. And how do you evaluate someone when you're looking at the back of their head? Like, how do you evaluate what they're saying to you? You guys that were here for the last Idaho hearing that were listening to the expert was quite good. But the court chose to only show the PowerPoint, and the way I was struggling to focus, because I couldn't see the person's face. We're looking at 8 weeks max of trial. How do you pay attention for 8 weeks staring at the back of the person who's talking's head? Oh, I can't imagine. So I'm not surprised that the defense has an issue with this. I would have an issue with this, especially in a case where the defense is arguing that, witnesses are lying, that there is a cover-up. It's critical that they see the witnesses. So I'm not surprised the defense brought this motion. I wouldn't be surprised if motions are being argued today. It's a weird layout. And the prosecution's like, it's been this way for 100 years. I mean, just because it's always been that way doesn't mean it should be that way. Like a lot of things happened 100 years ago that we're not doing in 2024. So I don't, I'm not persuaded by but it's always been that way. No, no, I'm not persuaded. So I believe that's what they're arguing today. They are bringing jurors back on Wednesday. So the court is working, but we're just not there yet. So we will see what happens today. If this is ruled on later today, I'll update it in the app. I mean, I guess if you're used to always practicing in that courtroom in those courthouses, you're just like, I mean, that's the way it goes. But particularly with defense attorney Jackson, he has prosecuted and defended trials not just in California but elsewhere in the country. So I'm not surprised that he's the one that's bringing this up. It's like, no, this is not going to work. And there are other courthouses, or there are other courtrooms in this courthouse based on media reports that can utilize or be utilized for this trial. So we'll see what they do with that. If the court does not shift it, it's just if there is a conviction, it's going to be a huge glaring issue for appeal. I can't imagine that with this being brought up, the court wouldn't shift it. But we'll see. Somebody asked, how hard is it to shift things around in the courtroom? It's all built in. Like here, let me see if I can find the picture of it. It's built in. So there's no shifting it in that courtroom. You have to go to another courtroom. I don't know this courthouse. I don't know how difficult that would be. Let's see. I'm going to just pull the picture up real quick because I saw them yesterday. And it was a demonstrative attached to the motion. The motion was shared, let's see, on X, but I think, no, this is a video. I want just let's see if we can find that amongst this video real quick. Let's scrub along and see. Here we go. So, Emily, share your screen. Oh, let's see. There we go. This is coming to us from a report from Court TV showing the view the jury has. The witness or the presumed witness, the faux witness is in the witness box. The rail is the edge of the jury box. The podium is where the lawyers will be. The tables that you see and the chairs are where the lawyers will be. But the jurors are behind the witness, and that is a built-in witness box. I don't know if they can move that witness box, if you look at the way it's built into the floor, back. I don't think that is gonna happen at all. Remember the weirdness of the witness box in Murdaugh? It was like a little stool and everybody was up awkwardly high above the bar. I mean, this witness looks like, I don't know, it looks like a cattle chute. This is not a stock photo. This is part of the defense motion. So no, not a stock photo, part of the motion. But this is the issue. So that is a problem. I'm not surprised the defense brought it up. I would have brought it up. Could they turn the chair around? Well, the defendant also has a right to see the witness. So no, if the witness is just looking straight at the jurors, then the defendant can't see the witness. So no. The defendant also needs to be able to, per the Constitution, confront the witnesses against them. So you have to move that witness back or move it to where a jury box has a different view. Or you put up a screen, but even then, I don't know if that's going to work. So that's not going to fly. And it really is. Look, the defense has a good point. Here is the only thing I will say is, would this not have been noticed earlier from the videos I've seen of this courtroom, it seems that this is where the hearings have been held. I don't know why it comes up during jury selection. It seems like they could have done this earlier. Maybe they shifted into this courtroom late in the game. I don't know. So Mike is asking, can't the jury sit in another room and watch on a closed circuit TV? No, they cannot. That I think would violate a lot of the defendant's rights. So no, they can't, because then the lawyers can't see the jury. A huge part of doing a jury trial as a lawyer is looking at how the jurors are reacting to things. Like as the lawyer who is standing, nope, there. As the lawyer who is standing at the podium, if you are the lawyer doing an examination of a witness, you need to be able to see all of the jurors, and you see the rail right here. All of the jurors are sitting in that box. You need to be able to see how they're reacting to the witness. You need to be able to see the witness. You need generally to also be able to see how the defendant is reacting and the court. So the amount of information the examining attorney is taking in is quite a lot. And the examining attorney has to be able to see all of that, as does the defendant. It is part of their constitutional rights. It is a bad setup. And I don't think a monitor will clear it up, because a monitor would block the faces of the jurors. So I'm sure they're having all of those conversations about what will work and what will not work. But this is odd. And again, the prosecution's like, we've been in this courtroom for 100 years and it hasn't been a problem. Well, it's not a problem until somebody makes it a problem. And this team's making it a problem. Again, this case is going to be heavily witness-based. It's a very long trial, and evaluating the veracity of a witness matters. And how do you do that staring at the back of somebody's head? I don't know. It is a good point. We will see what the court does. If the court does not grant this motion and shift the courtrooms, if Karen Reed is, and I'm going to say if with everything, if there is a conviction here, there will be appeal. Remember, if there's not a conviction, there is no appeal. So we'll see what happens. But it's an odd thing. So I imagine this is what they are going to be chatting about today in court. And once again, just because that's the way it's always been done, doesn't mean it's the way you have to do it, unless there's a caveat to that, unless it's loading my dishwasher. Look, when it comes to loading my dishwasher, there is a right way and a wrong way. And I don't care what Dr. B ever may come onto a stream and tell you. I don't care what my son, my teen, will come and tell you. There is only one way to load the dishwasher, and that will not change. There is just a right way and a wrong way. My husband this weekend was like, hey, can I help you with any of this? I'm like, I'm the one who needs to do it. So like, unless you're going to do it the way I do it, I just need to do it. So thank you for the help. But sometimes help doesn't help, because I just need to do it the way I do it. All right, let's keep zooming along in our quick bits, shall we? What are we going to talk about next? Should we talk about the audacity of Sam Bankman-Fried for a minute and then talk about Jellyroll? Maybe. It's been a minute since we've gotten to quick bits, so we have a lot to zoom through. I think maybe the audacity of SBF. I'll give a quick overview of this case. He recently got sentenced to prison, but there's more going on here. And I've covered this part of the case before, so we haven't run our quick bits bumper in 100 years. Let's talk about Sam Bankman-Fried. Quick bits. So a quick road so far with regard to Sam Bankman-Fried. SBF was the CEO and head of FTX. Emily, I'm not following this case. I don't know. I know it's a lot of initials, but Sam Bankman-Fried is really a lot to say. And FTX is actually the name of the cryptocurrency, crypto exchange. He was prosecuted and sentenced to 25 years in prison for stealing more than $11 billion from investors in the cryptocurrency. I don't think we're done with SBF. I don't think we're done with the prosecutions there. I think others were involved. I think we will start to see the domino effect now that they have him. When FTX collapsed, a fleet, a flurry of civil lawsuits were filed. You guys might remember the one I covered about BitBoy Crypto because it popped the fuck off early. BitBoy Crypto was supposed to be in court and he's like, deuces bitches, I'm on a cruise. Like it was wild. So a fleet of lawsuits popped off. The ones that I covered, and these are the only ones I covered, were a class action against celebrities and a class action against influencers. The civil lawsuits against celebrities and influencers are all being run by the same law firm. The celebrity lawsuits and influencer lawsuits were essentially the same. Hey, I don't even think any of these have been class approved yet, but I, representative of potential class action, invested into FTX or into FTX's crypto or just put my money with FTX because name a celebrity, name an influencer, recommended it to me. So because I lost money when FTX collapsed, I am suing, I don't know, Giselle or, Graham Stephan and BitBoy Crypto. So I covered the celebrities being sued and the influencers being sued. I often think that influencers are held to a different standard when they do promotions than celebrities typically are. Like it's really rare that people come out and are like, damn it, Jennifer Aniston, I can't believe you are the spokesperson for Smart Water. Weird or whatever. It comes up a lot with influencers. You see this a lot on YouTube where people are like, I can't believe this YouTuber promoted whatever the thing is. Probably not Smart Water. I don't think they have a YouTube campaign. They just work with Jennifer Aniston. So there are some underlying issues with the way some of these ads were done. Those are separate lawsuits because there are a fucking flying fleet of lawsuits. But those separate suits have to go to whether the ads were done properly, whether people properly disclosed that this was a financial token, etc. That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about just the celebrity lawsuits and what SBF has just done with regard to them. This is coming to us from Law 360. Their reporting is always easy to follow and on point. So, SBF Inc.'s deal to help FTX investors go after promoters. Sir, the fucking audacity. You're the one who wanted these promoters. Investors who launched multi-district litigation, fondly referred to as MDL. Yes, we're talking about SBF inking a deal over FTX in the MDL. Yep. So, Miguelina, it's not quite a plea deal. It's a deal. I named it wrong in the thingy thing. Sorry. Investors who launched multi-district litigation over crypto exchange FTX's collapse asked a Florida federal judge Friday to bless their settlement with founder SBF. So they did settle the case, who has agreed to assist in their case against celebrities who promoted the platform and other defendants alleged to be a part of a fraud scheme. Under the proposed settlement, Bankman-Fried will, quote, reasonably cooperate with class counsel in providing information to assist class representatives and class members in prosecuting the FTX MDL. They're using the word prosecuting. This is civil litigation. And to aid in victim recovery to the extent that he is able to do so under the circumstances. He can't do shit under the circumstances. He's in federal prison. The FTX founder was sentenced to 25 years in prison for stealing more than $11 billion from customers, investors, and lenders in the now collapsed cryptocurrency empire. Remember, a lot of that money is not getting back to the people who invested everything. The Florida MDL was brought by a class of FTX customers who wanted to recoup funds they lost during the exchange's epic collapse in 2022 from the exchange's executives and celebrities who endorsed FTX, right? Follow the money. They also sued SBF. SBF is like, don't sue me. I'll tell you everything. As part of the proposed settlement, SBF will provide testimony and documents, including non-privileged documents he produced to federal prosecutors as part of their criminal investigation, to the Investors Council at the Moskowitz law firm and Boyce Schiller, which is a very large and well-known firm. You might know Boyce from his involvement in the Elizabeth Holmes case and representing individuals against, I don't think against Ghislaine. I think just against Epstein. And there was more involved in that I'm not remembering at the moment. SBF agreed to provide a financial statement demonstrating all assets that he currently holds. I mean, that's going to be in the bankruptcy, though. Do you really need this? Along with an affidavit listing of all his financial assets, the settlement states that's all going to be in the bankruptcy, though. Get it from the bankruptcy. In addition, under the settlement, the former crypto king, do we need to give him cute titles? Like, seriously, he stole $11 billion. Like, why are we still like venerating him as a crypto king? The former current thief? Like, why? Anyway, the former crypto bro, now federal prison inmate, will provide any information he possesses regarding other defendants in the case, including former Boston Red Sox player David Ortiz, former basketball star Shaquille O'Neal, football quarterback Tom Brady, Tom Brady's ex-wife Gisele Bündchen, Japanese tennis player Naomi Osaka, and a host of other celebrities who endorsed FTX in exchange for Bankman-Fried's cooperation and assistance. The investors agreed to release him from their claims. So they're not suing him anymore. They're settling with him to help go after the celebrities. You know what's going to happen next? This same thing in the influencer lawsuit. This is exactly what's going to happen in the influencer lawsuit. Bankman-Fried agreed to provide a financial statement demonstrating all assets he currently holds. The bankruptcy is going to create that, and he also has restitution. How do you think you're going to get any money back? First of all, bankruptcy. Second of all, federal criminal restitution. Third, money gone. Go sue his parents. See if they have the money. In addition, under the settlement, no, I went through that. Let's see. Mark Botnick, a spokesperson for SBF, told Law 360 on Friday, quote, since the collapse of FTX, Mr. SBF has been singularly focused on returning the estate's assets to customers who could and should be made whole as of current prices. How's that going in the bankruptcy? He looks forward to continuing to work with Adam Moskowitz and his team to do so. The investor's attorney, Adam Moskowitz, told Law 360 in a statement Friday that their main job is to obtain the largest possible recovery for FTX victims. The bankruptcy judge is going to have thoughts. And as we told Judge Kaplan, also the judge in the Jen Shaw case, we are appreciative to Sam and his family for their help. Why are you kissing his ass? Am I being too harsh? Am I too salty? We're so appreciative of Sam and his family for help. He's going to prison for 25 years because he stole over $11 billion. Why are we just like, we appreciate him? He's in a bankruptcy. Just work with the bankruptcy court. But if they work with the bankruptcy court, this will get bumped to the back of the line because these are not secured claims. We're also appreciative to the other FTX insiders who are helping the victims. Okay, great for the other FTX insiders. The only way the full picture of the massive FTX fraud will ever be told is the help and cooperation of others, he noted, as there are now 73 defendants in the MDL. Last month, the investors reached a set of deals with Bankman-Fried's former inner circle, as well as 7 promoters who together agreed to pay more than $1.3 million. Caroline Ellison, who led FTX's affiliate Alameda Research, ex-FTX CTO, former FTX engineer, agreed to voluntarily provide information and testimony in the investors' lawsuits. If the terms of the settlement are not met, the class will attest to the executive's cooperation, submit a letter to the court ahead of each of their sentencing hearings. Let's see. That group is all being prosecuted. They have all pled guilty and not been sentenced yet. They all cooperated with the government in the criminal case against SBF. Of course they did. Of course they did. When it comes to the feds, generally the those who are less in charge will run to a deal. The investors also reached settlements with NFL quarterback William Trevor Lawrence, finance investor Kevin Paffrath, and YouTube finance personality Tom Nash, as well as influencers Brian Young, Grant Stephan, Andre Jika, and Jeremy Lefebvre. We're going to have to dip into that because I imagine that BitBoy Crypto is still fighting with the Moskowitz law firm. Hopefully he stopped threatening the lawyers, though. So, with all of that, SBF took a settlement to help go after the other celebrities that he very much wanted to promote his cryptocurrency. Isn't that just interesting? I'm curious as to how those celebrities that promoted this feel about his settlement to throw them under the bus. I hope that we hear about it. I'm just kind of zooming through this. There are quite a lot of celebrities that were named in that lawsuit, and I don't think I have the full document because I was just going to go over that. Oh, wait, here we go. Let's see. This is all the information these are all the companies they agree to help get information from, and these are all of the representatives. Let's see who's still in this. The Golden State Warriors, Giselle, Tom Brady, Stephen Curry, Kevin O'Leary. Anybody else? I mean, quite a lot of other people. The MLB, Formula One racing, Mercedes, everybody. So with SBF sitting in custody, I'm sure he doesn't really give much of a shit about all of the people that he asked to promote FTX who were taken in by him. But isn't that some shit, huh? I thought it was. I thought we just needed to go through SBF immediately getting himself out of the civil lawsuit to throw the people who promoted his shit right under the bus. And a lot of these got paid. I mean, O'Leary, according to the lawsuit, got paid upwards of $10 million to promote FTX, which is a whole separate issue about whether or not this is a financial token and it was disclosed. Like there's a ton of other issues in the way that this was promoted that we're not talking about today. But SBF's cooperation in going after them is very, very interesting because now we'll get like a breakdown of how much each of these influencers were paid, how much each of these celebrities were paid for their endorsements. Isn't FTX the name of an arena in Florida? Hold on. Are they going after them too? FTX Arena in Miami? Is Miami Heat still the FTX Arena? The NBA approved the deal in early April, and the arena was renamed FTX Arena in June 2021. I wonder if they've changed it back yet. Have they? Anyone in Miami? Did they change it back? Does it still say FTX on the top? So, anyway, interesting, isn't it? Are they going to go after the Miami Heat too? I mean, they did. They're named in here. Emily, don't ask questions you know the answer to. So SBF has some things. Has some thingy things going on. I'm interested to see what Rob has to say about it on Friday. Can SBF be forced joined in the suit by the defense? He is in the lawsuit now. He's settling the lawsuit. The other defendants can't block the settlement. The court could, but the other defendants can't. He's already being sued. SBF was sued in all of this. He's settling the lawsuit with the plaintiffs to help go after the other defendants. Isn't it fitting? Really? All right, let's continue on. We've got a few more quick bits to get to. I don't know. How much do you guys care about talking TikTok? Do we need to talk TikTok quickly? We'll talk quick TikTok real quick. We're going to zoom through TikTok, and then we're going to get to Jellyroll, and then we're going to get to Idaho. Let's zoom through TikTok. I interrupted myself with this, and I'm going to sneeze. Oh, that's going to happen. When is the question? When is the question? Let's zoom through TikTok. Two things going on with TikTok. First, the EU threatens to suspend TikTok because of some of the app features. On April 22nd, the EU warned TikTok that it may suspend a key feature of the video sharing platform's new app that rewards users for watching videos unless it addresses the concerns about addictive elements of the new app and the risk to mental health. I don't have TikTok on any of my devices, so I don't know what they've changed or added, but the EU is not having it. They talk about the fact that it is as addictive as cigarettes, that it can cause serious damage to its users' mental health. And the EU is throwing the hammer down and saying that it is designated a very large online platform and that they have to adhere to the regulations, or you are not going to be able to use TikTok Lite's risk and reward program, which it says provides users with points for taking actions on the app, such as watching videos, liking content, following creators, and inviting friends to join TikTok. And then they can get gift cards to Amazon, PayPal, or TikTok tokens to spend on creators. The commission said that this is a particular concern for children, given the suspected absence of effective age verification mechanisms on TikTok, which is a huge concern. So the EU is giving a much shorter timeline with TikTok removing some of these features so that the app is less addictive. Different than what's going on in the US, where the House has passed, and this will continue to pass, the forced divestment of TikTok, which could very naturally result in TikTok being banned in the US. This is not unlikely at this point. House passes another bill to force TikTok divestment. This is coming to us from April 20th. This has been passed more since the 20th in the Senate as well. Let's see. One of the reps from Texas said TikTok is, quote, a spy balloon on Americans' phones. It is a modern Trojan horse of the CCP used to surveil and exploit Americans' personal information. The bill gives 270 days for compliance as opposed to the 180 previously given. So if TikTok, ByteDance, doesn't divest ownership so that TikTok is owned by a company not located in China, then they will ban the app from the US, which means they will ban the app from the app stores that host it and fine the app stores for continuing to support the app, is really how it will work. I don't think it will get divested. I think we will also have a bunch of court challenges like we did last time that they went after this. The Ninth Circuit had taken this up the last time there was a potential TikTok ban about whether this was the government cracking down on speech in violation of the First Amendment. They are trying to go after this in a safety way. They have been working pretty hard to ban TikTok. There's a lot going on in this country. I don't know if TikTok is or is not the largest issue that we're facing, but it's interesting to see that, in fact, our government can pass like a bill, I guess. So that's interesting. I imagine this is very unsettling for TikTok creators. I would imagine that we will see more TikTok creators coming over to more stable platforms like YouTube to see what happens over the next 200 days. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if TikTok's going to divest. I don't know if they have time to divest. And I don't know if they're going to try to fight it out into the courts and get it blocked. We'll see. It's the First Amendment conversation around this will be very interesting. So we'll see. But it's not slowing down. They've been going after this for what? 5, 6 years now, trying to figure out what to do about TikTok. So it's in the sights. I mean, I have a list of other things maybe I would like to see a focus on before. Like, there's a lot of stuff that ramps up before TikTok for me, but I'm sure y'all have a list too. But it is happening at this point. It seems that the federal government is not going to slow down on that. And with all of it, we're going to see whether or not TikTok actually stays in the US. Look, all the songs that were taken off came back. There was some sort of detente there to allow music back on TikTok from UMG. So we'll see. All righty. Blue Coffee Cancer Girl said, I fucking despise slow mode. I get it, but we have almost 10,000 people here and it keeps the chat moving right along for everybody so that it is manageable. So I absolutely get it. I get it. I don't like being slow moded on channels either. But as we get, upwards of 10,000 people on stream, it's the only way to keep it usable and accessible for all. So I hear you. And we keep our slow mode pretty short, given the amount of people we have on stream because the law nerds are so great. Let's talk about Jellyroll, shall we? And then we're going to go to Idaho. Let's go. For all of you who might not be familiar with Jellyroll at this point, I don't know how you're not. You might have seen him talking to Congress about the fentanyl crisis in the United States. You might recognize him from the iHeart Radio Awards, from being everywhere in music, or just from me talking about the fact that he's local to me. I really enjoy his music, and he and his wife are hilarious. His wife runs a podcast, the Dumb Blonde podcast. They are absolutely hilarious. Love seeing them on the internet. So because of this, a lot of you have said, Emily, did you see that Jellyroll is being sued? And I said, who is coming for Jellyroll? And then I saw that it was a trademark dispute, and I went, oh, well, all right. Trademark dispute. Because I can't imagine anyone has a bad word to say about Jellyroll. The man is a national treasure. So with all of that, his music is fantastic. And I just think they are great. We're going to go to Rolling Stone first for this, and then we'll go take a look at the filings. Because you guys, look, this one's hard for me. I love Jellyroll, but we're going to have to go with the legal commentary on this. Jellyroll versus Jellyroll. Pennsylvania band sues country singer for trademark infringement. Jellyroll, the band, secured a trademark in 2010 and has been playing weddings and charity events around the Northeast for decades. Shown front and center is Jellyroll, the singer, not Jellyroll, the band. Jellyroll is facing a trademark infringement lawsuit brought by the leader of a Pennsylvania-based band that's been performing at weddings and charity events under the name Jellyroll since 1980. The suit, highlighted in the Court Watch newsletter, was filed by Kurt L. Chichinell, who is seeking injunctive relief against Jellyroll to stop him from using the name going forward. He wants an injunction. He wants Jellyroll that was at the Grammys this year, Jellyroll, who lives here in Middle Tennessee, Jellyroll, who cleaned up at the CMTs this year. They want Jellyroll to stop using the name Jellyroll. The band's lawsuit claims that his band first used the name Jellyroll as long ago as March 9th, 1980, and they obtained a trademark on August 17th, 2010, which was most recently renewed in 2019. Why did you wait from 1980 to 2010 to get a trademark on this? I have questions. Over the decades, Jellyroll, the band, has regularly played private and public events around the Northeast and Delaware Valley. In 2007, they earned an invitation to play at the White House after one of former President George W. Bush's daughters saw them play at a country club in Delaware. First Lady Laura Bush liked them so much, she asked the band to play her 44th high school reunion the following year. As for Jellyroll, the country star, the suit acknowledges that he started releasing music under the moniker around 2010 and that his mother used quote unquote Jellyroll as a nickname for him when he was growing up. I imagine he's had that conversation in therapy. But again, I can imagine him saying, you know, my mom used to call me this and now it's my name. Kind of like me with my mom being like, you know, this isn't the Emily Show. And me being like, it is now. And that's what I'm naming my podcast. I get it. I relate. It goes on to say the suit argues that Jellyroll's surge in popularity over the past few years has cut into Jellyroll's ability to get their name out there and has caused confusion in the marketplace, which again, confusion in the marketplace is the touchstone of trademark, right? We talked about this with the Taylor Swift Evermore situation, Evermore the Park, and Evermore Taylor Swift. And I was like, no one is confusing the theme park and Taylor Swift. Like Taylor Swift's fans aren't confused whether or not they're going to a theme park or buying a Taylor Swift album. This gets a little difficult because they're both artists. It goes on to say, prior to the defendant's recent rise in notoriety, a search of the name Jellyroll on most search engines, and particularly Google, returned references to the plaintiff. Now, any search on Google returns multiple references to the defendant, perhaps as many as 18 to 20 references before any reference of plaintiff's band, Jellyroll, can be found. The lawyer sent Jellyroll a cease and desist. We'll get there when I pull up the documents. So we are going to just go to the documents on that. Here's the thing. When I go to like iTunes, hold on, where's my iTunes? When I go to iTunes and look at Jellyroll, hold on, let's see, where's my search function? I find, let's see. I find, well, mostly Jellyroll, but there are also others that are profiled on Apple Music when you do Jellyroll with a space. When you do Jellyroll with no space, well, the Wedding Singer Band does not come up at all. It is mostly just Jellyroll and Jellyroll Morton, who is a jazz musician. So there are others using the moniker Jellyroll as musicians. There are multiple other musicians. So here's the thing. When you look at artists, part of the argument that's going to come up here is why not go after all of the other artists? Here, let me show you. Why not? Oh no, I cleared my search. Darn it, Emily. What are we doing? Why not go after any of the other variety of artists using the name Jellyroll? These are the artists using the name Jellyroll. One, Jason is Jellyroll. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And Jellyroll Morton being the same. So when have you sought to enforce the trademark over the others? Because part of trademark enforcement and part of being able to enforce your trademark is the fact that you have sought enforcement elsewhere. So I imagine Jellyroll is going to Jellyroll, son of a sinner, Jellyroll, or halfway to heaven and halfway to hell, Jellyroll, is going to argue when his lawyers respond to this, yeah, but there's other artists that use the name Jellyroll and they have never gone after those artists. So they have not enforced their trademark and therefore forfeit their enforcement here. They might also just say, I'm Jellyroll now, here is money, go away. That's possible. They might also say, look, there is no actual confusion. You are a band. I am an artist. So you losing ranking on Google doesn't indicate confusion. It just indicates one is more popular than the other, not necessarily indicating brand confusion, and you can't necessarily liken the popularity of one to the brand confusion. I would also want to know why the band Jellyroll from the 80s to 2010 did not bother trademarking their name. So it's a problem though. Let's see. Steve asked, is Jellyroll part of the other names or the entire name? It looks like the entire name. I love the Legally Blonde references in the chat. So wait, that's not the right screen. We need to go back to the law, Emily. Get the music out of there. Let's go back to the law. Let's go back to the law. So the thing about trademark is, though, confusion is part of the issue. But if people are buying tickets to go see Jellyroll Jason, are they confused that they're not seeing a wedding band? Like, is there actual confusion in the marketplace over a wedding band? Because if I think I'm booking a wedding band in Delaware for my wedding, I don't think I'm confused that it is not Jellyroll CMT award winning, Congress inspiring musician. I'm not confused that he's not a wedding band, right? Like, but is there confusion in the marketplace, or are they just asking for him to pay them to go away? I don't know. But can you imagine? You guys are like, that would be disappointing. Can you imagine trying to book Jellyroll halfway to heaven, halfway to hell Jellyroll, and then getting wedding band Jellyroll that seems to be regional to the Northeast? Are you confused? Like, are you confused? The man with the cross tattoo on his face is not the wedding band. Like, though there is an argument here. You can't just put a space in a name and use the same name that somebody's trademarked, and it is trademarked for live music performances. All right, parties, jurisdiction, and venue. Plaintiff is an adult individual located and doing business as Jellyroll. Of course, they put the registered trademark logo or the registered trademark R in there, the R with the circle. With their business address. Defendant Jason Dufour is an adult individual whose home address is currently concealed, but who can be contacted through his attorney. I mean, thank you for not like doxing artists in legal filings. I think that's a stand-up move. And his manager, John, from Imogen Entertainment Group in Redondo Beach, California. Shout out to all the South Bay peeps. Everyone, I know exactly where Inglewood Avenue in Redondo Beach is. I didn't expect to see that. Let's continue on. Nature of this case: plaintiff seeks injunctive relief. Injunction means stop it. Like, stop doing the thing. Stop doing the thing. Injunctive relief against defendant for service mark infringement, false designation of origin, common law palming off. You guys, it doesn't mean that. No. Chat, stop. Hannah, will you please tell them that I'm obsessed and I love them? Like, obsessed, like in a totally normal way. Me being like, one of these days I'm going to run into Jellyroll at Starbucks. It's going to be fine. It's Middle Tennessee. What? It's fine. Factual allegations common to all counts. Plaintiff is presently the owner of the U.S. service mark for Jellyroll the mark. Chat, I'm trying to keep a straight face, chat. I'm trying so hard. I'm sorry. We'll fix it in post. I'm trying. We're going to have to talk. I'm changing the title of this episode to Jellyroll Sued for palming off. I can't. Sorry, the Jellyroll. This is very serious to this wedding band. It means a lot. It means a lot to them. I'm trying to take it seriously. We'll get into palming off in a minute. Don't Google. Plaintiff has acquired the rights to the mark and all the goodwill therein. Yes, plaintiff has registered the name Jellyroll for, here, let's just pull up the trademark registration real quick. They have registered the name Jellyroll for entertainment in the nature of live performances by a musical band or group. Entertainment services in the nature of live musical performances. So they have both. They don't just have band or group. They have both live performances in class 41. So the question will really be, the space is not the issue because the names are so similar. Space versus no space isn't going to be the thing. But it's going to really be an issue of confusion. Again, or is the public confusing a wedding band and a regional and local band for this highly recognizable individual artist? I mean, it's not. Look, if you know who the man is, you are not getting confused that he is not someone else. You've seen him in the Uber Eats commercials where he's like, someone is doodled on my face. You're not confusing him with someone else, right? He's kind of singular and highly identifiable. But they do have the trademark, and the names having a space is completely irrelevant. Same, right? They talk about the fact that they have entertainment in the nature of live performances by a musical band or group, entertainment services in the nature of live musical performances. That's the right category. That's the category you want to see this in. Shauna said someone is just mad about their Google ranking. Feels that way because they weren't doing this in, let's see, when did Jellyroll's YouTube channel start? Because that's where I saw him in 2020. Like they weren't coming after him in 2020. Wait, no, did I really just do that? I just searched for YouTube on YouTube. No, I'm not going to play any of this music because I will immediately have an issue because of, the way that music copyright works on YouTube. But let's go to channel info. This channel started in December 2009. So was it findable before they registered their trademark in 2010? I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. Was it under the same name then? Maybe not. But again, you're not confusing this Jellyroll with that Jellyroll. But they're probably mad that even when you go onto YouTube and look for Jellyroll, what you're coming up with is Jason Jellyroll, not band Jellyroll, if they even have a YouTube channel, which is unknown. No, I'm looking for Jellyroll. Why are you giving me other stuff? Oh, that's my case. Let's see. So I don't see anything that is not that. All right. So with all of that, yes, I did watch the canceled podcast with Jellyroll on it. It was great. He talked a lot about the same kind of stuff that I talked about in my interview with Sir Mix-a-Lot about owning your distribution rights, owning your publishing rights, and what have you. So let's see. Plaintiff acquired the rights to the mark in August of 2010, and having since renewed the mark in 2019, a copy of the mark registration is officially filed. Plaintiff, professionally known as Jellyroll, has been providing music and vocal accompaniment for celebratory and charitable events, first in the Delaware Valley and now throughout the Northeast since 1980. So wedding events. Again, I don't know if there's I don't know if there's confusion here, but there is a lawsuit that he's going to have to deal with here. They say they have been performing since at least 1980, including, among other notable events, 2 appearances at the White House. Conversely, defendant, who was not born until 1984 in Antioch, Tennessee, claims in published interviews that his mother referred to him as Jellyroll as a small child. Okay, I mean, he's not going to trademark his nickname. There's no need for a stage name when you are a small child. Small child does not need a stage name. Also, he was able to get most of the social media handles, or are they under Jellyroll 615? Well, we'll look at it. I'm sure they're in here. Defendant claims he started using the name Jellyroll in about 2010 in connection with the personal distribution of self-created music mixtapes that he would distribute at no cost in the area near his home. A lot of musicians out of Antioch, but it is Music City, Tennessee. I mean, Nashville is, but still. Defendant further claims he became a musician by claims. Why are you trying to shade Jellyroll? Defendant further claims he became a musician by learning to play guitar while serving time in prison for felony armed robbery in his late teens and early 20s. And it sounds to me like A, he had good behavior because he had access to a guitar, and B, he decided that that wasn't going to be the entirety of his future. I don't think that's shade. Or if it's intended to be shade, I don't think it can be shade. I think that is tremendous. I don't know. I don't know what the right word is. A tremendous dedication to changing one's life. Prior to defendant's recent rise in notoriety, a search of the name Jellyroll on most search engines, and particularly Google, returned references to plaintiff. Now any search returns references to defendant, perhaps as many as 18 and 20 before plaintiff's entertainment dance band known as Jellyroll can be found. And Fortitude. I like Fortitude. So, Alpha Beta Omega said they had to put in that snub to his character. I think they mean it as a snub. I think it just makes them look petty, but not in a good way. Maybe they're a little jelly. I couldn't help myself. I make no apologies. On Friday, February 27th, 2024, plaintiff through counsel. Oh, so they waited. The man swept the CMTs last year too. Why are we waiting? Why are we waiting then? He blew up on YouTube in like 2020. He has been promoting and releasing music since 2010. Why are we waiting till 2024? On February 27th, 2024, plaintiff through counsel sent a cease and desist letter by email to various email addresses believed to be associated with defendant or defendant's management. On February 29th, plaintiff's co-counsel received an email from defendant's counsel wanting to discuss the C&D. Several conversations ensued, and at one point, defendant's counsel inquired as to whether defendant really was in competition with plaintiff. It's a reasonable question. Is country music, outlaw rapper Jellyroll in competition with a band that plays weddings, celebratory events, and charity events in the Northeast? Really? Despite receipt of the cease and desist, defendant has not discontinued his use of the trademark. Yeah, I imagine not. Can you imagine Jellyroll just being like, so guys, I'm not Jellyroll any longer. I'm going to change my name to E Simple. Prince had to change it because of a massive fight with his label. This is different. But the Google ranking is not going to be enough to show that there is actual confusion. If I buy tickets to a Jellyroll show, do I think I am going to see a wedding band? No. I don't know if there's confusion in the marketplace. They just seem unhappy with their Google rankings. But again, it is the same exact name. Defendant, along with other musical accompaniment, has now announced a nationwide tour that will make planned appearances throughout the Northeast, including Philadelphia. In or about March 2024, plaintiff became aware that defendant was going to appear for a live concert at the Wells Fargo Center located in Philadelphia on October 2nd. Defendant has been marketing this event and pre-selling tickets. All such marketing has used the defendant's professionally adopted name and infringing name Jellyroll in these efforts. One such advertisement can be found there, a copy of which is attached. Defendant's website, jellyroll615.com, continues to use plaintiff's registered trademark Jellyroll prominently on his website. Defendant ignored the cease and desist demand and continues to use the mark Jellyroll, thus continuing defendant's infringement. Count 1, federal service mark infringement. We own it. You're using it. We've owned it since 2010. Stop it. We used it since before he was born. It's been recognized for live music performances. It's been continuously used since 1980. And that defendants' unauthorized use of plaintiff's mark, Jellyroll in interstate commerce, especially in the Northeast, in connection with live music performances, including the promotion of such in marketing and advertising, has already caused and will continue to cause not a mere likelihood of confusion, but actual confusion. Will it though? I know that they think people are dumb, but I don't think people are dumb. I just don't think people are dumb. I really don't. I should say most. I can't. I think most people who want to hire a wedding band in the Northeast aren't going to be confused that they're not hiring Jellyroll. And I think people who are buying tickets to go see Jellyroll are not going to be confused that they're not going to a wedding. Even though the name is the same, and multiple names can exist, but they are going to have it either sorted out by a court or they're going to have to pay to settle it, which is what happened in the Ringo case. It got settled. A lot of these things get settled. They say defendants' unapologetic continued infringement acts and conduct, unless enjoined by this court, will continue to cause customer confusion, mistake, and deception. That is the crux of this case. And I don't know if it will, right? Trade name service mark dilution. Again, we saw this in all the Haley Page cases. Like they use somebody else using Jellyroll dilutes the value of their mark. Like their mark is less valuable to them because, well, Jellyroll Jason has rise to prominence. Initially only performing in Philadelphia in the 1980s, plaintiffs has been expanding his footprint and now performed under his registered service mark in Connecticut and Virginia and every state in between, including performances at the White House. Defendants' acts and conduct have tarnished the reputation and recognition of plaintiff's famous service mark. I wonder how shady the response will be. Like, will it just be factual, or will it be a little bit of shady? Unfair competition by false designation. Defendant has adopted the domain name that uses plaintiff's registered service mark, Jellyroll615, and Xfeed, formerly Twitter, at Jellyroll615, Instagram, Jellyroll615, Facebook profile under Jellyroll, TikTok, at official Jellyroll. Did somebody take Jellyroll615 on TikTok? I have questions. Anyway, 615 being the area code of Nashville. But those handles, I imagine, have been in existence for quite a while. So why did we wait this long is also a question here. Oh, there's more shade. Defendant's infringement of plaintiff's registered service mark has caused the relevant public and trade to believe erroneously that defendant's services are associated, authorized, and sponsored by plaintiff. Does anyone think that Jellyroll the singer is sponsored or authorized by the wedding band in Philly? Anyone? Bueller? Because of defendant's troubled past, which includes a felony conviction and imprisonment, such association as averred above has caused additional harm to plaintiff among the public and trade. Really? How? They say that defendant has falsely designated and represented his services sold in commerce or is callously and intentionally disregarded, clarifying the origins of his service in an effort to trade on the goodwill of plaintiff. The man has face tattoos. No one's confusing the two of you. Like, at all. I don't think Jellyroll is trying to trade on the regional success that the wedding band has had. And I mean no shade to people who play weddings. Weddings are joyous. They deserve delightful music. But I don't think that Jellyroll is trading on the goodwill of plaintiff. So they say, as a consequence of the foregoing, defendant is currently continuing to commit the acts complained of herein, has continued to do so in defiance of the cease and desist. Well, that's why you're suing. They're like, yeah, nah, miss me. Injury to business reputation and dilution, which is going to be more of the same. Common law unfair competition, palming off, and service mark infringement. I might get married again just to hire Jellyroll as a wedding band. I might. We've never renewed our vows. It's only been like 22 years. There's always time. Plaintiff realleges paragraphs 1 through 5. Defendant's actions and conduct alleged herein are unfair competition under Pennsylvania common law. Defendant's action or conduct alleged constitutes service mark infringement under Pennsylvania common law. Defendant is caused and unless restrained or enjoined by the court. You don't restrain someone during the palming off unless they, consent. Defendant is caused and unless restrained and enjoined by this court will continue to cause irreparable harm to plaintiff, including but not limited to injury to plaintiff's goodwill and business reputation. Plaintiff asked the court to enter the order as followed: that defendant, its officers, and all business entities be enjoined from, this is what they want Jellyroll to stop doing, using the name, term, or registered mark Jellyroll or any derivation, including Jellyroll with a space, in the class of live performance music. So they very much want Jellyroll to cease and desist. We need to go look at the common law of Pennsylvania. Did they list the statute of Pennsylvania common law? Maybe not. Let me see. Because most of these are under the USPTO, but let's see. Which is why they list all the Lanham Act. No. All right, I'm Googling so you don't have to. I can't believe I'm doing this. Let's see. Emily, should you have done this before stream? Probably. Probably should have. Let's see. That is not an easy search. I mean, I've seen passing off used, which is keep coming off, which passing off generally means you're trying to make it look like your goods are their goods. So you're passing off goods as coming from the other, like the designation of origin. If you buy something that says, I don't know, Coca-Cola on it, that it is coming from the Coca-Cola company. It's not someone else passing it off as Coca-Cola. But I've not seen it termed palming off ever, which is why it's kind of hilarious. Hold on. This is another Pennsylvania case that talks about palming off. I'm going to have to go find the origin of that. Emily, is this a rabbit hole you need to go down today? No, it's not. But how have we gotten here? Let's see. They are using it in the same way as passing off, it seems, in this other lawsuit. All right. I need a deep dive into Pennsylvania common law to figure out where the term and phrase palming off came from versus passing off goods as. So that's going to be a deep dive later. That's going to be a deep dive later. Brooke says, can you imagine Queen having to change their name? Right? I can't imagine. So I will take a look to see if I can find the common law tradition of using the phrase palming off instead of passing off in a trademark case. So I will go down that rabbit hole on another day. Oh God, we have gotten to the reverse palming. which is a whole different trademark strategy. Damn it. I swear we're going to get to serious cases. Reverse passing off, a risky trick play in trademark cases. Reverse passing off sounds like a trick football play, but it's in fact a relatively rare form of trademark infringement that could become more common in business as businesses seek workarounds for supply chain distribution issues. Let's see. In typical trademark infringement cases, Party A accuses Party B of offering and selling goods under a trademark that is confusingly similar to Party A trademark. In this situation, each party is offering its own product, but Party A believes customers are confused to think Party B's product comes from or is affiliated with them because of the trademark. Passing off, sometimes referred to as palming off, is a related claim but involves substitution. For example, a company was found to have engaged in passing off when it substituted sewing machines parts made by other manufacturers in response to orders for Singer brand sewing machines. So you ordered a Singer and they like swapped it out, and what you got was not in fact a Singer. Reverse passing off, aka reverse palming off, also involves substitution, only this time the marks that are it's the marks that are substituted rather than manufacturing its own products. Party B purchases Party A product, removes or obscures Party A's mark, and then sells the product under Party B's mark. For example, Liz Claiborne sued one of its sweater manufacturers for reverse passing off when the manufacturer sold overruns of Liz Claiborne brand sweaters using the manufacturer's mark, Mademoiselle, without authorization. The two identical sweaters even ended up next to each other on the same rack in the same store. Okay, so we will get back to passing off, palming off, and reverse palming off another day, but essentially it all goes back to designation of origin and whether or not there was confusion that the music from Jellyroll and the music from wedding band Jellyroll are the same. Let's see, wedding. I need a photo. If you go to Jellyroll Band, you will find it pretty easily. But if you go to just Jellyroll with a space, you will get to Jellyroll. So, but it is very clear that it is a wedding band. What makes Jellyroll the best wedding band in Philadelphia? Jellyroll Band is the best wedding band in Philadelphia because of their flawless performances. Their style combines elegance with high-level intensity. Their repertoire includes everything from old school classics, the newest top 40 hits, to stay sharp and up to date. The band frequently practices. Well, there you go. And the Best of Philly Awards, the Not Best Weddings Hall of Fame. It's very clear that they are a wedding band, though. So, is there actually confusion or not? I don't know. Maybe not. I see some of you talking about the last sort of trademark case that we got into that was the Bad Spaniels Jack Daniels. That case isn't done yet. Bad Spaniels Jack Daniels is reinvigorating their litigation after the Supreme Court ruled, because now they have to go back and figure out what to do. So that case is still ongoing. We'll get back to it in another day. We're going to go to Idaho and then answer questions and kind of round out our stream for the day as Emily tries to catch up on all the reading I have to do in other cases. So we need to go to Idaho and then we'll answer some questions. I'm not confused. I'm not confused, but we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what the response is from Jellyroll's attorneys. It looks like they have not really given comment other than to like not abide by the trademark infringement. And maybe it is licensing, maybe it is a I'm Jellyroll now situation, or maybe it is a you're a band, I'm a solo artist, we can all exist together. Who knows? We'll see. I'm not it's not easy to be objective. I love Jellyroll, so it's hard, but I understand the frustration of a wedding band. Though if you Google Jellyroll wedding, the wedding band immediately comes up. Like looking for what you want shouldn't be hard to find, because I think if you're looking for a wedding band, and if you're looking for country music artist Jellyroll, like I think that when you Google search it properly, you'll find it. So we'll see. I saw some of you guys say in the chat, look at me, I'm Jellyroll now. I see it. Why don't they just do a collab and utilize the fame of Jellyroll? I agree. Or a YouTube video where they just make jelly rolls. Like, just use a Jellyroll pan to make jelly rolls while singing songs by Jellyroll. Mike, I get it. Mike said, then what is the point of trademarks? The point of trademarks is to make sure no one is confused about the designation of origin. That if you buy something that is labeled Starbucks, that it comes from a Starbucks. If you buy shoes that are Adidas, they came from Adidas. So you are not confused about the origin of a good. That is the purpose of trademark. Are you confused about the origin of the good when the good is music? I don't know. You guys tell me. Are you confused? I'm not confused. But that's going to be for the courts to decide, or for a settlement deal, which is probably the most likely scenario in this case. Let me pull up documents. I had put these in my file. We're just going to go directly to the court website because it's going to be faster. Let's go to Idaho real quick, and then I'm going to check Pacer and see if there's any ruling in let's just do that together. Let's just do that right now too and see. Lindsay said, I'm more confused between Jellyroll and an actual Jellyroll. More confused if we're talking about the music or the food. I get the music or the dessert. I get it. So it's like, which one are we talking about? I can tell my jelly rolls from my jelly rolls. I'm not confused because I know how to Google, but yeah, you do you, Jellyroll wedding band. I have empathy for them. I imagine it's frustrating when you would Google Jellyroll and you would be the only band that came up. I don't know why they waited so long, and how the court will determine whether that is an issue. And I'm interested to see what the response is from Jellyroll. So is this going on to the docket for when we have time? Yes, it is going into the docket when we have time. Maybe it'll come up at another food court. I have been missing food court. You have been missing food court. So we'll see. All right. Nothing in the TikTok psychic case, which is disappointing. All right. Let's go to Idaho, shall we? Should we just hop on EDB Air? I feel like we were just somewhere between Nashville and Philly. We were somewhere between the two. Let's do a quick road so far about what's going on in the Idaho University murders case, the prosecution of Bryan Kohberger. The court held 2 lengthy hearings with regard to the defense's survey and questions of potential jurors. The defense is arguing that the way they do the surveys is absolutely necessary for them to meet their burden on their upcoming motion to change venue. They have said that Latah County is not a county where they can hold this trial for Bryan Kohberger whenever a trial date is set, sometime in the summer or after of 2025. I think it is a bit early for this motion to be held. Jury pools can shift and change, but the defense believes that this needs to be heard and determined now. And the court said, as Judge does, basically, let's see what happened. Let's hold the hearing. Let's hear the motions. I'm worried at the end of the day, Judge is going to hear the motions and be like, you know what? It's too soon. I am very worried that that's going to be the end result of all of this, that Judge hears all of the motions with all of the work and is like, let's revisit this in 8 months. Like, I'm nervous. The prosecution has argued that the questions on the survey violate the non-dissemination order made by the court. They did not argue that this type of survey cannot be done. They did not argue that this type of survey was improper. They argued that the questions asked violate the non-dissemination order. The court brought in the expert and did an extensive hearing with the expert, who was pissed at the prosecution and the internet for insinuating that he had somehow tainted the jury pool, which is basically what the prosecution was arguing, that asking these questions that are so pointed, that have information in them that is not factual, could further exaggerate the problem by tainting the jury pool by now asking people these direct questions. Not just have you heard anything about the case, but did you hear that Brian Kohberger stalked one of the victims? Did you hear that Brian Kohberger followed one of the victims on social media? Those pointed questions. The expert came in and said, look, that's the only way to really know what people know. If you ask, have you heard about this case? People say yes. We ask them, what have you heard? But when we ask these specific questions, they go, oh yeah, I had heard that. So when their memory is prodded a little bit, they actually oftentimes know more than they've disclosed. And then they were able to collate that between how many facts about the case the person knew and whether or not they had formed an opinion about the case or could keep an open mind about the case, which is what they need to show when they go to a motion to change venue, saying, hey, based on our sample size, the members of this community know too much about this case to be an impartial jury. And that is what the law entitles the defendant to receive. So the court published April 19th. When was that? A couple days ago. On, at 4:58 p.m., but I think this just hit the public filing system yesterday evening. I had not seen it before that or reporting on it before that, but I've been following, other cases and trying to get the podcast ready for tomorrow. So let's pull this up. Filed at 4:58 p.m. on April 19th. And there is a delay between filing in court and when these hit the public docketing system. Here is the court's 6-page response or 6-page order. Order of the court. On March 22nd, 2024, the state filed a sealed, at that time, motion for order. This wasn't up last week. Did we cover this Thursday last week? Because it wasn't ruled until Friday. So maybe it hit on Monday. It is only Tuesday. Anyway, the state filed a sealed, at that time, motion for order prohibiting further contact with prospective jurors absent leave of the court. The same day, defendant Brian Kohberger filed an objection to the state's motion with the promise of a forthcoming affidavit and memorandum. Affidavit and memorandum in support of the objection. The court then entered a temporary order prohibiting both parties from contacting potential jurors about the case, including via third parties, until further order of this court. A hearing on the issue was set for April 4th. So that was the first hearing on the issue, and then there was a second hearing on the issue because the court wanted to have hearings on hearings on hearings. In the interim, the defense filed a memorandum in support of objections to the state's motion for order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors absent leave of court, with the declaration of Brian Edelman, which we went over when it was filed weeks and weeks and weeks ago, attached with the declaration attached, and a motion to rescind order for failure to provide due process, which pissed off Judge quite substantially. The state filed, which is a conversation for after this. On March 29th, the state filed a declaration in response to the defendant's motion to rescind, a reply in support of the motion for order prohibiting contact, and an objection to defendant's motion to rescind for failure to provide due process. On March 29th, the defense filed a reply in support. On April 4th, a hearing was open to the public because neither party requested the hearing be sealed. The court's like, I'm going to answer the questions. Why wasn't the hearing sealed? Nobody wanted it sealed. And so everything became public. At the time the court heard arguments from both parties regarding a survey the defense had conducted in Latah County and wished to conduct in 2 additional counties. The state took issue with the 9 questions in the survey, which were read into the record in open court. Yeah, they were. And argued that asking those specific survey questions to potential jurors violated the court's revised non-dissemination order from June 23rd, 2023. Specifically, the non-dissemination order prevents the attorneys in a case and their agents from making out-of-court statements which a reasonable person would expect to be disseminated by means of public communication and that relate to the following: 1, the identity or nature of evidence expected to be presented at trial or any sentencing phase of the proceedings; 2, any information a lawyer knows or reasonably should know is likely to be inadmissible as evidence in a trial, and that would, if disclosed, create a substantial risk of prejudicing an impartial jury or impartial trial. The state asserted that the questions violated these provisions because the surveyors are agents of the defense and the defense bears the responsibility to honor the non-dissemination order. That was me bumping into my mic. The defense argued that the questions in the survey were based on information obtained by defense expert Edelman from reading and watching various news articles and broadcasts from both mainstream media and social media. The defense further argued that the questions did not violate the non-dissemination order because they constituted information contained in the public record. Do you remember the pissing back and forth about what the public record was? The defense argued, the blue jay is now getting sassy with the woodpecker. It is the wild outside my window at the moment. The defense argued that the public record encompassed all information in the media for the public's consumption. And the court was like, the public record is the public court record. I'm like, sir, when you look at any legal contract, the list of definitions is like 3 pages. The back and forth about what is and is not the public record is much. Oh yeah, blue jays are a lot. So, Chloe said, Emily, why is your mouse never on where your mouse shows it is? I don't know. Where I see it on the screen and where it shows up on the screen for y'all is weird. And I don't know. I have no idea why that happens. I wish I knew. Let's see. The non-dissemination order expressly allows attorneys involved in this case and their agents to make extrajudicial statements, written or oral, concerning information contained in the public record. And remember, Judge was fighting over the public record. At the conclusion of this hearing, the court ruled the defendant's due process rights had not been violated because 1, the order to pause the surveys was entered after defendant filed an objection to such order, and 2, the order was temporary. The defendant was given notice and the opportunity to be heard at the hearing set shortly after the temporary order was filed. And then the quote is citing State v. Blair with regard to what the court is obligated to do under the due process clause of the 14th Amendment. I don't think the court violated due process. I think that the defense was very frustrated, and I can understand why, feeling that the prosecution can just file a motion late on Friday and the court pauses the defense work. I understand why the defense was so frustrated by that, because it felt like the prosecution could just go get whatever they wanted done with the court, and they didn't have a chance to be heard. But I can also understand the court saying it was a temporary stoppage. We are not 3 weeks out from trial. A trial date has not been set. A trial date won't be set for over a year from now. So it's not a violation of your rights. You'll have a chance to be heard. The order goes on to say the court also kept a temporary order prohibiting contact with potential jurors in place and instructed defense counsel to consult with Brian Edelman to determine if there was a way the survey could continue while eliminating the concerning questions the state raised. The hearing was scheduled to continue April 10th. On April 10th, the parties reconvened in open court and fought about whether the fuck they were having a hearing or not for 30 minutes. They reconvened to hear from the expert and then went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on whether they were going to hear it or not. Again, neither party requested that the hearing be sealed. Good. The questions at issue were again discussed, including the fact that some of the questions on the survey are not rooted in fact or supported by admissible evidence, but are simply rumors. The rumors and innuendo, but are simply rumors in the media and on social media, where other questions are formulated based on information from the public probable cause affidavit filed by the state. And the press conference there too. Wasn't prosecutor salty about that. Yes. After a lengthy hearing, the parties remained at odds. Nobody tried to solve the issue. The parties remained at odds over whether the 9 questions at issue should be allowed to be asked in the surveys conducted by the defense in other counties. Corky said Judge equals seriously loves his hearings, really wants to be very involved in the process. The court now orders the following. 1, the public record, as the term is used in the non-dissemination order, means the public court record, i.e. information from public hearings and from documents filed in the case that are not sealed. We knew he was going to double down on that. 2, information that formed the basis for 6 of the 9 questions at issues came from the PCA, a document filed in this case that is not sealed. The non-dissemination order expressly allows, quote, attorneys involved in the case and their agents to make extrajudicial statements, written or oral, concerning information contained in the public record. The defense was arguing that the public record is what is known to the public, not the court record. Additionally, one of the questions was not based on admissible or inadmissible evidence, but instead asked about the feelings of the members of the Moscow community. Therefore, the defense did not violate the non-dissemination order by asking 7 of the 9 questions. He's going to split the baby. As to the remaining 2 questions prior to the hearings, there was not, quote, information contained in the public record about these, quote, unquote, media items. Rumors. However, the questions have now been read into the public record and discussed at length during the hearings. Well, they're now part of the record. They weren't part of the record, but now they are part of the record. So damn it, are they part of the record or are they not part of the record? However, these questions have now been read into the public record and discussed at length during the hearings, including the fact that these, quote, media items may not be true. Because the information is now in the public record, the court does not see any benefit in preventing the defense from continuing its surveys or requiring that the 2 questions at issue be eliminated. So the court is saying, look, these weren't in the public record, but now they are. Y'all did it to yourselves. Y'all wanted to read these into the record. You read them into the record. And when you read them into the record, they became part of the court record now. So touche. The reason this was forced public is because the defense didn't file their documents as sealed. So then the prosecution doubled down and was like, fine, if you're not sealing yours, we're not sealing ours, and we'll put it all out there. And now the court is like, fine, y'all put it all out there. So now it's out there. And now we have to deal with it because y'all splashed it everywhere. So now there's no undoing it. The shit's out of the horse. So now there's not a problem. If y'all had done this sealed, which is funny because this is why he's saying multiple times, y'all didn't want it sealed. Y'all, it's public record now because y'all didn't want it sealed. So whoopsie doodle muffin. You made it public now. Again, these questions and media items are now part of the public record, and the non-dissemination order does not prohibit attorneys involved in the case or their agents from making extrajudicial statements about information contained in the public record. So it's now in the public record, so now they can ask about it because now it's come into court, and it came into court because they asked about it. We're now in a circle. We're just the circular reasoning. It's like, well, the prosecution filed their motion under seal, but then the defense filed their motion not under seal. So then the prosecution just put everything on the record because the defense didn't file theirs under seal. And now it has worked to the defense's favor because now it's part of the public record. So they're going to get to continue their questions because now it's out there. The non-dissemination order also allows extrajudicial statements that a reasonable lawyer would believe is required to protect a client from a substantial, undue, prejudicial effect of recent publicity not initiated by the lawyer or the lawyer's client. Any such statement shall be limited to such information as necessary to mitigate the recent adverse publicity. Defense counsel argued at length that the two media items, stalking and following on social media, not contained in the public record were the subject of extensive media coverage that was prejudicial to defendant, and that the survey questions asking potential jurors if they had seen, read, or heard those media items was necessary to support defendant's motion for change of venue, which is aimed at mitigating the effects of prejudicial pretrial publicity on defendant's right to a fair trial. The goal of the non-dissemination order is to ensure a fair and impartial jury can be impaneled so that defendant receives a fair trial. If the defense counsel believes asking these survey questions, which arguably contain prejudicial information or misinformation about defendant, is more beneficial than harmful, as defendant's expert testified, this court does not at this juncture. What are you going to do it later? This court does not at this juncture have sufficient information or evidence to second guess that strategic decision by trial counsel. The court's order prohibiting contact with prospective jurors until further order of the court is lifted. The defense may continue its surveys without modification. That surprises me. He's not modifying anything at all. Just go for it. Without modification to the survey questions, any extrajudicial statements by attorneys involved in this case or their agents may continue to comply or must continue to comply with the non-dissemination order. John Judge. Let's go see the other order in this, which is the scheduling order. Let's see what the scheduling order is. Zoom filed the same day at 4:57 p.m. Based on the April 10th hearing, the court orders as follows. A hearing on defendant's motion for change of venue will be held on June 27th. Is that right in the middle of VidCon? I think that's right in the middle of VidCon. On June 27th at 10 a.m. PT. Well, at least I'll be in the same time zone. The hearing will be held in person, open to the public, and stream live on the court's YouTube channel. Defendant's opening brief, witness list, and other evidence the defense wishes to present must be filed by May 31st. CrimeCon. The state's response brief, witness list, and evidence opposing must be filed by June 14th, and the reply must be filed by June 20th. All right. Well, there we go. The surveys will continue until morale improves or a jury is unbiased. The goal for the defense is to move this trial out of Latah County. The prosecution disagrees with moving it out of Latah County. We will see and cover all of the motions based on the findings of this expert and see if Brian Kohberger can get a fair trial. It is in the court's best interest to make sure this trial is in a location where a fair and impartial jury can be selected. Here's the thing. If there's nowhere in the state of Idaho that this case can be held, then they're going to have to take other factors to mitigate potential juror bias. They can't move it out of the state of Idaho. They can't bring jurors in from out of state. So if there is so much publicity about this case, there's nowhere to move it to, then it stays in Latah County and they take other efforts to mitigate any harm with this. So with all of that, we are going to go through your questions and answer them about this. In summary, let's summarize what Judge said. Judge Judge's order allowing the defense questions to continue is basically that what is in the public record is what is in the public court record. He then said, caveat, everything in these two hearings over the surveys is now in the public record. And because everything is in the public record and none of you asked to have the hearing sealed, then the questions can continue unmodified because it is now all part of the public court record. But the court was very clear to maintain his distinction that the public record was the public court record, not what may be in the public sphere in media or social media reporting. But the court mentioned it multiple times that the parties did not ask to keep things sealed. The reason the prosecution seems to not want the hearing sealed is because the prosecution filed their motion under seal and then the defense filed their motion publicly. Is there an argument that the defense forced this into the court record by their filings. I mean, maybe they forced the prosecution's hand, but the prosecution then read all of those questions into the record in court, not the defense. So the court has said, because this is now all part of the public record, it does not violate the non-dissemination order, and the surveys can continue in the other counties. And the motion for change of venue will be heard by the court on June 27th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Let's get to your questions. Mars, this is one of my favorite phrases. The shit is out of the horse. Look, the toothpaste is out of the tube. Other things you can't put back. But the shit is out of the horse. So not much you can do there. Malibu said disagree with the judge. Not right to reinforce speculation or false information. Defense accomplished their objective. Just grant the change of venue and get on with it. Well, they have to make their case. And I understand the experts saying, look, we have to ask more specific questions to get to the heart of some of the most damaging information. If you heard and believed, and we're following this case closely, if you heard and believed that the defendant stalked one of the victims before the murder, can you be fair when you go to trial, or are you just like, wasn't he stalking them? Like, following them on social media and shit? Like, really? I don't, like, what? So I understand you guys are saying the jelly is out of the roll. I think Santa was prodded a little bit by the defense, but I also think the defense, I don't know if it was 3D chess, and Taylor can't presume what the prosecution might do. But he chose to read those into the record. He knew how the court was defining public record. He could have seen this coming too. Question, can they take people from many different counties in Idaho? It gets harder. I do believe that he could get a fair trial in Boise or Bonneville. They're going to survey at least the county that Boise is in. They are going to be surveying. So that is going to be one of the counties they're looking to see if they can, get this trial too. They want to move this trial back by popular demand. I think so. I think that's how we ended up here. Can the prosecution survey? They can survey if they wanted to. They're going to have to go find an expert to do it. I don't know if they're going to. So let's see. Jellyroll is the new Pokemon. Gotta sue them all. So anyway, Bridget, yes, the prosecutor can survey if they want to. Chad is perpetually 12 years old, says Barbara Lewis. Yes, that is how we intend it to be, because everybody needs a little bit of a laugh during their day. Hopefully you're not all snorting like I was earlier, but shit happens. Brittany said, EDB, it's my 40th birthday. Happy birthday. Oh, that's loud in my in-ears. I'm so excited to be here with you and the Law Nerds. I took a day off from teaching high school freshmen so I could celebrate. This is the icing on the cake. Thank you. I am a firm believer in no good comes at work on your birthday. Unless you absolutely have to be at work on your birthday, you should not be at work on your birthday. Birthdays are not for working. Birthdays are for a you day. I imagine, especially this time of year in high school, it is very much needed for a you day. So happy 40th. Congratulations. It's exciting. Talia, I'm so sorry to hear it. I think Tala, there's no I there. My brain added it. I am sorry for your loss. Many in this chat can empathize and sympathize. It's been a lot. Lisa said EDB stream on my birthday. What a great present. Lots of birthday law nerds here. Suzanne, it's just after 2 a.m. here in Australia, 24th of April. I turned 59, but I feel like I'm still 39. Perfect. And when you join this chat, you might just be 14 and giggling about the fact that this lawsuit said palming off. Amora asked, are you going to cover Angelina and Brad? I'm going to get back to the winery lawsuit. There's a lot of filings to catch up on, and it gets daunting. Like, it starts to feel like an avalanche of filings. And I'm like, oh God, where do we jump in? It's like the double Dutch has gotten too fast. And now it's like, I don't know how to jump in. Like, There's a lot. So, yes, it's just going to take me a minute. It's planned for the pod. Hello, lovely nerds, says what Samanu? Maybe? Samanu Gupta. It's almost 10 p.m. for me, but I can't miss a live. Good to see you. Holly says, good morning, Emily. I'm getting ready for the second interview for a job I really want. Wish me luck and send good juju. All the good juju is sent. Good luck. If it is meant to be, it will be. Kersey Nursey. Such a good name. We have lots of nursing professionals in the chat. Catching a live busy week. Daughter's wedding is Saturday. Congratulations. I hope it is a beautiful and magical and not stressful day. I hope everything goes off without a hitch. And if there are any hitches, that no one will even notice and we'll have a great time. Debbie says, Emily, my 11-year-old daughter wants to be a lawyer when she grows up because she has watched you with me a couple of times. That is fantastic. It's also okay to change your mind, and broadcasting is a lot of fun. Lawing is sometimes fun. I will tell you guys a quick story. Don't tell my brother. He doesn't watch my live streams, but don't tell my brother. So at my brother's wedding, I was the officiant at my brother's wedding, but at my brother's wedding, my brother and his wife met lifeguarding. So they are my brother is very much an aqua jock. He is still a water professional doing all of the water professional things. So very much a beach theme. I know. Thank you, chat. No telling. So very much a beach themed wedding, including some of their favorite sea creatures, jellyfish. So they purchased a wedding cake with jellyfish on it. When the cake arrived, and I was there early because, family and kids and photos and all the things. When the cake arrived, chat, they did not look like jellyfish, chat. Chat, they did not. Chat, they did not look like jellyfish. They definitely looked like dicks. They did not look at all like jellyfish. Like they didn't at all. My sister-in-law was not thrilled at all. I don't even know if I have a photo of the cake. I have one somewhere. But it had like the little head was there, but then like the tentacles were kind of not they just kind of looked veiny. They were not tentacling. It was just they were like, yes, like a cross between dicks and sperm. It was just not, I imagine it was definitely not, it was not her vision for a wedding cake. By the time we got to cutting the cake, everyone had drank. The cake was cut and nobody noticed, but she was fucking livid. The cake was delicious, but she was livid. And I was like, you know what? It's going to be fine. The cake's going to be delicious. No one will notice. Like, and truly, I don't know if anyone did notice. But they definitely didn't look like jellyfish. Like, I could see where the vision was going. It just, the execution just was not. It just was not there. It just was not there. Things go awry at weddings. Hopefully, everyone can have a solid laugh about it. At my wedding, one of my friends was so intoxicated that my maid of honor had to take care of her, but she did fall off a chair wearing like a slip dress with no underpinnings. And so the dress ended up a belt. And the legs were in the air, and my grandfather was like this. And I'm like, Grandpa! I was like, somebody, please cover her back up with her dress. And that was before, and we had weddings. There are more stories, but that was before we were taking photos because the wedding table was very 2002. And so we had the disposable cameras on everybody's table. So when we get the pictures back, there is a photo of my my wedding party and one of my friends with her mother and like trying to put her arm around her mother, but she is holding a very full sour apple martini. It was 2002, okay? All of us were drinking neon green drinks. Midori was the vibe. Everything was a sour apple martini. Everything. The way I lived for a fucking sour apple martini. However, they are sweet. They are sticky. They will definitely remind you that you were drinking them the next morning. If you drink too many, you will know. It will be visible. So she is going to take a picture, wedding party mom, and like somebody's taking the picture, but somebody's taking a picture of the picture also being taken. So it's like influencers in the wild. And you can see the progression of my friend trying to put her arm around her mother, and her mother, God bless, was a very, very petite woman, and ended up with the sour apple martini dripping down her face because as my friend went to try to put her arm around her, the martini glass that was quite full, because martini glass, the stupidest glass ever made. I'm sure a bartender can explain to me why, but for a wedding, like my friends needed sippy cups, but which is actually not a terrible idea. So the photos show the progression of the martini glass and then sticky sour apple martini all down my friend's mother's face. When you're the first in your friend group to get married and have an open bar, things happen. That, I mean, thank you, Apple Watch. Things happen. So that happened. But my friends probably needed sippy cups. The sippy cups they give you at my local live theater venue are great. We probably should have. We probably should have. We probably should have had sippy cups at the wedding. We all thought we were very fucking posh in our green. Well, I had them in like chartreuse bridesmaid dresses. It was a joke from high school. It was 2002. That's just, it is just. But the sour apple martinis matched the dresses. It was all very cute until it was not very cute, but better than my cousin's wedding where our great aunt slipped on the dance floor and broke her hip and the entire reception was delayed substantially so EMS could take her to the hospital. So, I mean, things happen. Weddings are a good time by everyone. Sippy cups were needed. It was so funny because at my brother's wedding, the wedding venue was not easy to get to. So there were transport larger Sprinter vans. My uncle has worked in the music industry for his entire life. So as it was getting later in the night, my uncle's looking at like the number of Sprinter vans coming back. And he looks at us, like looks at the whole family. My uncle's so funny. He looks at the whole family and is like, I know how this goes. We cannot be on the last Sprinter. If there are only 2 left, we have to go now. He was like, team, we have to go now. We have to go now. This is a man who has toured with just about every band you can name. He's like, we have to go now. We do not want to be on the last Sprinter bus. So he rounded up the family and was like literally, go, 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 go. So we get onto the second to last Sprinter bus. My mom, my dad, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, not my brother and sister-in-law, they went on the last bus. 2 people barfed on the last bus. Two people barfed on the last bus. I would not have survived. I cannot survive other people's puke after a night of drinking. He was 100% right. He was like, second to last bus is where it's at. The last bus is not where nothing good is happening on the last bus. And I was like, sir, you are right. You are 100% right. I would not have survived. I would not have survived. I would not have. I would not have made it. And I would have been ready to murder people. So my uncle, everyone got home safe. Everyone handled themselves, and nobody had to deal with that. We should get back to questions. So the last Sprinter van is not the Sprinter van that you want to be on in that circumstance, because those are the people who have stayed to party. So, will you come to Dallas in June to watch Dave Matthews? I'm not in Dallas in June for Dave because of I think it conflicted with VidCon. My summer is still very up in the air due to kiddos' schedules, but no, I do not have nearly enough summer tour dates in my repertoire for Dave this year. Like, the dates I wanted to go to aren't lining up with other things I have, including VidCon. So it's just, Dawn said last night I used asked and answered with my son. It really is a perfect phrase. Wolfheart, congratulations on 9 months. Opinion on criminal background check of jurors in Karen Reed case. It's not unusual to do. Generally when they have the jury rolls, they do those a little bit earlier, but it's not unheard of by any means. 2 months till 2 years, loving every second. Thank you so much, Effie Wild. Bobby said, just lost my best friend. I'm so sorry. My world, my cockatoo, Jack Feathered Lawnards here. Most upset I've been in the 47 years on this planet. The loss of a pet is uniquely and specifically painful. And this chat has love for the paw nerds and the claw nerds, and the winged nerds, which also count as claw nerds. I am very sorry for your loss. It is uniquely painful. And yes. Kevin said, regarding dishwasher loading, I am the normal loader at my house. When everyone else starts loading the dishwasher, I tell them to go ahead and run it when they get everything they can in. Yeah, I reconfigure. I do. And my husband's like, stop rearranging the dishwasher. I'm like, stop loading it this way then. Dat Girl said, trying my hardest to relate to this principal agent relationship for my contract law class as midterms come around. Principal agent relationships are hard, but you know what? They came up. There were a lot of filings about principal agent relationships in Depp v. Heard, which is an interesting context for it. LJ Peach said, turn the witness toward the jury box and place the podium next to the jury box, the defendant in the table close to the podium side, and witnesses have their back to the judge. I don't know if that courtroom is going to be reworked, but we'll see. Smurf Anna said, Miami shed the FTX name in April 2023. It's now the Casillas Center. Perfect. Thank you. That is the answer about Miami. I'm having minor surgery today and so glad I get to wait with the law nerds. Good. It will go smoothly and hopefully you will rest well. Be your own strong. Emily, what is the most shocking thing you've seen done by attorneys, witnesses since covering many cases from Depp v. Heard and on? Oh, that is, I think, a much longer conversation. And then I would have to parse out in my own life versus in the trial life. I think one of the things that has shocked me the most in everything we've seen, this is not by a lawyer, but Spiegel and the armpit coroner, I think, are at the top of like shit I never thought I'd see in court. Like, I've seen some wild shit in court, but most of it I'm like, yeah, I get it. Armpit coroner, you cannot prepare me for armpit coroner. You cannot prepare me for Spiegel. Pointing a weapon in the courtroom at the prosecution table and saying, tempting, was also pretty fucking unhinged. Like, there was stuff that other lawyers have done, and I'm like, lawyer's gonna lawyer, but armpit coroner was, it was really at the top. Like, really at the top of like, what in the fuck is happening? MJ gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. Oh no, EU is coming after EDB next. I'm an Emily addict, Rob and Ian addict, and recovery addict. Yeah, don't tell Sir Mix-a-Lot, who said that I was addicting. Don't tell the EU. Though I don't know if they have jurisdiction over me because I operate out of the US. So, meh. I don't know why I became a velociraptor. Apologies. Drunk Mythology Gal said, does Reed Jury Box open appeals for past cases? No, because if nobody brought it up, nobody brought it up. So it seems like nobody's brought it up. Somebody must have brought it up. I can't imagine nobody's brought it up. Fiona and Michelle, thank you both for the gifted memberships. Redondo Beach said, I'm 51. Give me confidence to go to law school. Redondo Beach at 51, it is a balancing act of money, time, energy, finances. You can absolutely handle it. It's whether it's worth your time or not. Handling it is not the question. You will handle it. It's whether it is how you want to use your time and money. And if that is the truth, then do it. Tina K.S. Lawnard, thank you for the 50 gifted memberships. How did I miss that earlier? I apologize. I was talking about something. I apologize for missing that, but thank you so much for making it rain on the Lawnards. That's incredibly generous. As we were talking Legally Blonde references, why this sperm? Whole new context after talking about my sister-in-law's wedding cake. New band name, I call it. The band might change their name. New band name, I call it, yes. Our lawyers made us change the name of this band. Music to my soul motion. If Jellyroll loses this case, he should get a tan and rebrand himself as Cinnamon Roll and dare Cinnabon to come for him. I mean, they're definitely in different categories when it's Cinnabon. Janice, surprised they're not citing the Lady Antebellum, now Lady A band situation. They didn't cite it at all. Not at all. And I don't know how that case has shaken out because Lady Antebellum changed their name to Lady A, but there's another Lady A. So I don't know. I don't know how that sorted. So Jellyroll needs the Aldi Twitter team as PR. I think Jellyroll has quite a lot of public PR. It would be very funny. But in a trademark dispute, I imagine that the USPTO doesn't have as much of a sense of humor. Well, this is my guess. Leonard Soph said One Direction were sued in 2012 for £1 million by an unknown band who were named One Direction. In 2009, people do it for money and attention. We'll see what happens with it. I mean, it is the same name. It is trademarked. Katie said, I think the argument here is that no one can find the wedding band, even when they are trying to find them. Rebranding costs monies for the band. True, but when I put in Jellyroll wedding, it was the top result on Google. But that is the confusion is the issue. Will the public be confused between the two? Susan said, what if a radio station says you win Jellyroll tickets? You think you won tickets to a big name, but in fairness, won tickets to the wedding band. I can't imagine you would win tickets to a place where a wedding band is playing because they're playing at weddings. They're not selling tickets to concerts. And it seems like they're not doing many ticketed events. Some Andy Dwyer bands, Department of Homeland Obscurity, Everything Rhymes with Orange, Fleetwood Mac Sex Bands, Malice in Chains, Muscle Confusion, Punch Face Champions, Teddy Bear. I don't know if I could say that on the YouTubes, unfortunately, and Three Skin. Well, not Foreskin. Why don't they change it to the Jelly-Rolls? It would still be within the same like derivative naming. I want dessert. Why am I hearing about music? Fair enough. Kersey Nursey said the call no nurse wants to get, quote, this process. Oh, wait a second. Kersey Nursey said the call nurse wants to get, quote, this is a process server with certified docs for you. Thankfully, I researched the number equals scam, but it sure got my heart pumping. Oh, there are the scam calls are a huge issue. Teresa said, you keep saying Jellyroll and peanut butter jelly time is now stuck in my head in the year of our Lord, 2024. I'm giggling at my desk.
Because it's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly in a baseball bat, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly, peanut butter jelly in a baseball bat, peanut butter jelly time. That's now stuck in my head.
That's now stuck in my head. That's now going to be stuck in my head. Wait, Lindsay, isn't this the Tootsie Roll? To the left, to the left, to the right, to the right. Now slide. There's a dip in there somewhere. It's a Tootsie Roll, not the Jelly Roll. God, peanut butter jelly time doesn't miss. Colin said judge who doesn't judge. I mean, a judge who takes things under advisement, which is going to be interesting in trial. Apple Jam and PB says Jelly-Rolls is also a club and piano bar at Disney World along their Boardwalk Hotel. I'm more likely to confuse either party with that one. Fair enough. I mean, it seems like a live music venue, which is different. Jasmine, congratulations on 9 months. Tina K.S. Lawnard, thank you so much. Love being a Lawnard. Y'all feel like family, and I love getting to enjoy the humor, sarcasm, and full law education. Almost ready to pass my EDB bar exam. At some point, we're going to have to do an EDB bar exam. Who won the case of Colin the Caterpillar versus Cuthbert the Caterpillar? Jill, thank you for being a member for 2 months. Jag324 EDB, which is correct. What is in the news, media, press conferences, and court public record, or just the court record alone? Well, Judge clarified what he meant, which is just the court record alone. Valkyrie Art said, wow, it's really been a year. Thank you, EDB, for making law knowledge accessible and easily digestible. That is always the goal. Up in here. Caitlin, question based on that logic, is JJ saying that before he hears the defense was in violation? I think he was saying if it had been sealed, he would have found a violation as to those two questions. I think that's what he is insinuating. Jasmine said, can the jury ask to see those things also? I did not see this when it came in, so I do not know what this is referring to, Jasmine. I apologize. I probably grabbed it when I knew and then didn't grab it. Carla asked if I can cover the bachelor paternity suit. It is in the docket. When is really the question, because bandwidth. Let's see. 18 months at my favorite place. Thank you, Indigo. In 3 weeks, Kelsey Nicole says, I get to graduate with my bachelor's in paralegal studies. Yay. I never knew I would have liked law so much without you. Well, I'm glad you found something that you enjoy. Paralegals are absolutely necessary to the legal profession. Mannix said martini glasses are also called baptismal cups. I've never heard that. Just because said I once had too many pints of sour apple martini on a St. Patrick's Day and had to drink like a gallon of water before I could walk to the bathroom. Yeah, and then your pee was probably green because Midori. Emily, happy to be here with you while I heal. Elizabeth, heal well. Good to see you. Emily, the rumors, the nastiness. I love Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. Meredith gives just the best sound bites ever. Just ever. Angela said we accidentally over-tipped the open bar staff for our wedding reception. Things got wild. Hopefully it was good and worth it. Nassar victim settlement. Wasn't that quite a while ago? I'm sorry, Rachel. I'm not connecting the dots. I apologize. LJ Peach said my husband used to photograph weddings and had a best man so drunk he fell into the cake. Yikes. Wedding photography would be incredibly stressful, I would imagine. Anne said the new favorite saying around the house, what we are not doing. And what we're not doing, it's problematic, which is apparently the legal profession's new favorite word. Young Black economist, good to see you. Said, glad I found this group of mature, kind, smart people. We're mature most of the time. And then some of the times, teenagers, but only when we have time to giggle at ridiculous. Oh, Rachel said the FBI just settled with the victims. I'll take a look. The FBI should settle with the victims. We are mature most of the time. We are mature enough to know when it is appropriate to giggle and when it is appropriate to be mature, which I like. Thanks for keeping us updated on the hard cases. Catherine, you're welcome. I would like to get back to some of our lighter cases. It's been very murdery up in this coverage. Stitches and Giggles said, I just settled my civil case after 3 years. So happy I can move forward. It must feel like a tremendous weight lifted. I hope that it does. And you can just kind of shake it off. It's litigation. Being in litigation in any way is incredibly taxing financially, emotionally, all. Destiny said, do you like Taylor's new double album? My faves are Down Bad and Black Dog, one of her best albums in my opinion. Destiny, I have not listened to every single song on both of them yet. But I have been working through it and I need at least 2 listens before I have an opinion. So that's where I'm at. I am not done yet. Ellen said, thank Little PTO Beach Boys. Thank you, Alexandria. Thank you, Sarah. Need you singing Peanut Butter Jelly Time with the voice changer as a ringtone. I don't know about that. Melissa said the jelly roll, rigmarole, whack-a-mole, casserole, barrel roll, toilet bowl, glory hole, Paw Patrol case. I don't think I'm going to be able to say that ever again, but I think we made it through. Melissa, that was fantastic. Thank you. Brianna said every Tuesday, Thursday, I have to make coffee in EDB cups. It's only right, as you should. Daydream 1013 said, my mom and older sis were wedding photographers. It's as stressful as you expect, not just photographers, but also managing the families. Oh, emotions are high at weddings. Emotions are high and alcohol is flowing. Nishay, good to see you, friend. Can jurors discuss the cases they are currently hearing with their therapists? I don't know what the rules specifically say about it because you are told not to discuss with anyone. However, you do have confidentiality with your therapist, but you're not even supposed to discuss it with your spouse. So I don't really know the ins and outs of whether or not you can. Generally, you would wait until the end because you don't need anyone else's input. I would imagine you could walk the line of, I'm seeing a lot of things and I don't know how to process it, but it would be a line to walk. Would at the end of the day anyone really find out? Could it impact you? Would a therapist also have a professional obligation to try to understand, to not impact a person, but help them process it? It's an interesting question. You are told to not discuss it with anyone because they want the juror's opinion. They don't want the juror receiving input, though I think there is realms that a therapist could navigate dealing with the emotional weight of a case without getting into the specifics of a case or giving an opinion. So I think there's room to have those conversations that wouldn't cross the line. But it would be hard. I think it would be hard. So the worry, for those of you saying the therapist can't tell anyway, the worry is not that the therapist will tell someone else. The worry is that the therapist could give input to the juror and then the juror's decision is not made on their own. So that is a potential issue. Been craving jelly roll and coffee for the last hour. Gringa, I'm sorry. But it's a great question, Nishay. Jesse, the way I talk to my nanny kids when they tantrum, what we're not going to do, we're all going to take a breath. Amy Miller, the runkleism from Friday night. Is it Friday night? Fuck around. I think it is. Broke me and I'm still dying. Oh, the poop in a pile? Absolutely. The poop in a pile absolutely sent me. We were talking about having your shit together and Runkle's like, sometimes my poop is in a pile. Sometimes it is not. Poop in a pile. Poop in a pile. Poop in a pile. So, Cena, aka Potato Supreme, said maybe you have room to speak about it and vent, but I can't react. Just saying stuff out loud sometimes helps. And that's a poop is ungrouped. That's right. Poop in a group. Thank you, chat. Poop in a group versus poop in a pile. Poop in a group or poop not in a group. My brain. Ungroup the poop. Look, runkleisms are absolutely the best. But don't therapists say, and how does that make you feel? I mean, I think it's fair. Everybody's therapeutic relationship and type of therapy they are in is different, but I think it is fair to help someone process through what they are seeing without giving an opinion on the case, because processing through feelings is hard. But whether that is appropriate to wait until after a trial, I would have to look at more. So poop in a group. I saw somebody saying that the settlement with the FBI and the gymnasts is upwards of $100 million. I'll go take a look at that. Processing real news or breaking news in real time is hard, but we've talked about it briefly. We did not talk about the FBI lawsuit in depth. There's a lot of ins and outs to suing the federal government, but what the gymnasts went through and the way that those preying on them were protected is unacceptable. So there should be a settlement and they shouldn't have to go to trial again. And I'm sure there's other podcasts, but Believed is a really good but difficult listen on Nassar. Good but difficult. So if you are interested in taking a look into everything that went on with the U.S. Gymnasts, Believed is a great podcast. They treat it with tremendous dignity, but it is difficult, worthy, but difficult. So just know that going into it. And with all of that, EDB comments on Runkle's new purple hair. I want it to be purpler. I love it. I think it was by accident. So Rachel Mills says Athlete A is a good docu on Netflix. I have not seen that one. I'm sure there are others, but yes. All right. With all of that, Law Nerds, it looks like the Karen Reed case is stalled for a minute, and we will be back hopefully into trial next week. We'll see what happens tomorrow. If you want to know what I'm doing with that coverage, the Law Nerd app is for you, lawnerdapp.com, so that if all of a sudden opening statements are tomorrow, I can just let you know in the app that I'm going to go live. When opening statements start, I will start covering opening statements. Until then, I will keep you updated in the app about things going on with the trial and the progression of it. They're not bringing jurors back in tomorrow. There's a half day on Thursday. There's no case on Friday, so Monday might actually make sense, which means on Thursday we can zoom and cover some other stuff. Tomorrow's podcast is a newer murder case that I'm covering, so that will be up on the podcast tomorrow. I'll be in the chat with all of you at 11 a.m. when that premieres to talk about it. Law Nerds, it's always great talking about the law with you. I appreciate you. You guys, let's get some rest. Let's hydrate. Let's take care of ourselves because we're starting trial soon and we need some time to get ready. I need to go do laundry. So that's what I'm going to go do this afternoon. Y'all let me know what you're doing to be productive this afternoon or to just do the things that need to get done, even if it doesn't feel productive. Sometimes that's just, sitting and playing two dots or loving pies. That's productive too. I will talk to you in the next one. Bye, Law Nerds. Get the app.
You can stay up to date with everything I'm covering and fast notifications on our free iOS and Android app at lawnerdapp.com or search the App Store for Law Nerd. You can also follow me around social media. And don't forget to check out my podcast, The Emily Show, with quick bits dropping every Monday, summarizing everything I do here on the live streams on Tuesday and Thursday for when you just have time for the quick bits. Thanks for being a Law Nerd.